Yasas. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about this very small but important word, as. There are many things we could say about it. There's a whole bunch of grammar we could go into, but I'm going to avoid all of that just to get you warmed up. So this is used with the subjunctive mood to express desirability. Now, even that might be too technical for what I'm trying to do here. I'll try not to use too many difficult words. This is primarily for modern Greek. And as is most easily understood by thinking of the English word let, for example, let it be done, or let's, for example, let's go. Okay, so there are many possible paths we could take with this, but I'm going to try and keep this as simple as possible because it's just an introduction. There will be more videos to follow up on this later. So we'll use us with the second principal part. And if you don't know what that means, the principal parts are just different forms that a verb can have. I'm not going to get into those here. They are mentioned in other videos and in other ones still to come. So let's take a look at just the first two principal parts just to get some examples in. We could take the word diavazo, which is I read or I study, and look at its second principal part, diavaso. That red letter, that sigma, is the only thing that's different. Grafo, I write, becomes grapso. Akuo, I hear or I listen, becomes akuso. Plirono, I pay, becomes pliroso. And peso, I play, becomes pexo. And you can see in all of these, it's the last consonant, the last letter before the omega, before the personal ending, that changes. And it usually becomes some kind of S sound. So sigma, psi, and xi are all forms of the S. Now, not all verbs are going to follow this. In fact, there are many rule breakers, and we'll look at a few in this video. Trogo, I eat, becomes fao or fago. So we're going to be looking at the second column here and mixing this, joining it with as. So if we take the avaso and we put as in front of it, as the avaso could be translated as let it be that I read, or I may as well read. As the avasis, let it be that you read, or you may as well read. As the avasi, let him or her or it read. There are many possible combinations, and again, I'm going to bring up that word subjunctive again. Unfortunately, we don't know what it is in our own language, so there'll have to be a separate video explaining what the subjunctive is before I get into all of the forms of the subjunctive, like the hortatory and things like that. We're going to avoid all of that for now, as much as possible. And what I really want to focus on is what us looks like when we use the first person plural, when we talk about we or us. So, as διαβάσουμε, let's read or let's study. So let's take a look at this form here, us as it relates to we or us. So you can see διαβάζω, which we just did. And in the second principal part, we actually can conjugate all of them. The red one is the one that we're going to focus on. We'll put as in front of it, as διαβάσουμε, which becomes let's read or study. If you look at the next verb, αρχίζω, in its second principal part, in its second form, or its second flavor, if you want to think of it that way, we have the word αρχίσω. Αρχίζω is I begin or I start, and we can conjugate it, and when we get to that red one, the one that talks about what we do, as αρχίσουμε, let's begin. And I know that I've mentioned this in other videos here. Most words, and it's very important that we remember, not all of them, most verbs that end with a zo are going to lose the zeta and have it changed to a sigma. Okay, and there are many, many verbs that follow this pattern, but again, not all of them. Let's look at verbs that end in evo, like chorevo, I dance, and its second principal part becomes chorepso. And we go down to the red one, which is what we do. Chorepsume, by itself, doesn't mean anything. But if we put as in front of it, as chorepsume, it becomes let's dance. The other verb here, magirevo, I cook, will become magirepso. And if we look at magirepsume, by itself it doesn't mean anything. As magirepsume, let's cook. So here's another little note. Evo, will usually become a psi in the second principal part. Okay? And this will get you through many, many verbs. Now let's see how this works with different categories of verbs. The first one here is kimame, and in its second principal part it's kimitho, which we can conjugate, kimithis, kimithi, and we get to kimithume. As kimithume becomes let's sleep. Voitho is I help, and we can go through the conjugations here until we get to the first person plural. Voithisume, as voithisume, let's help or let's assist. So even though these verbs are different from the ones that we saw in previous slides, these are called deponent verbs. These are contract verbs. If you don't know what they are, it's okay. They're in other videos, and I will explain them again in an upcoming video. The pattern is the same when we use us. Okay, we're basically translating it as let's. And a very large category of Greek words are the irregulars. Here we have trogo, I eat, becomes phao or phago. So we go to our first person plural, which is we. As fame, let's eat. So now let's look at some common phrases we can use with as. Kano is I do or I make. So as kanume, let's do or let's make. Pezo is I play. As pexume, let's play. Grafo is I write. As grapsume, let's write. Vlepo, I see. As dume, let's see. Pigeno, I go. Aspame, let's go. And again, in all of these, we're actually saying let us go, let us see. So we're using it the way we use it in English. Let's go, let's see, let's play. Lego, I say. Aspume, let's say. Fevro, I flee or I leave. Asfigume, let's leave. Perno, I get or I take. Asparume. Let's get, let's take. Ime. I am. Asimaste. Let's be. And if you haven't figured it out, all of those blue ones are irregular. They're all rule breakers. So a lot of the really important verbs that we need have to be memorized because they have something unique in which they don't follow the patterns. They don't follow the rules as we would like them to. Deliono. I finish. Asteliosme. Let's finish. Delos.